So what if two of the most common spices in your kitchen cabinet held the key to managing your everyday aches and pains? Today we're digging into how ginger and turmeric can go way beyond just flavoring your favorite dish. We're talking about their potential as total powerhouses against inflammation. Let's see what the science really has to say.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle the whole issue of chronic pain and why our usual go-to pills aren't always the best answer. Then, we'll open up the spice cabinet to find a pretty amazing potential solution. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of how they work, check out what actual clinical trials are telling us, and then, to wrap it all up, I'll share some really practical ways you can put all this knowledge to good use.
Okay, let's start at the beginning, with the root of the problem, for so many of us, that simmering, hidden fire called chronic inflammation.
I want you to think of chronic inflammation like a tiny fire that's just constantly smoldering inside your body. It's often the secret culprit behind persistent pain in conditions like arthritis. Basically, it means your body's immune system is stuck in overdrive, and it just won't switch off. This is the fire we're trying to figure out how to manage.
So when that fire flares up, what do most of us do? We reach for a bottle of over-the-counter pain relievers, right? But when you're dealing with long-term issues, you have to ask, is that really our only option? Or even the best one?
And this is a huge reason why so many people are looking for alternatives. I mean, common non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, you know them as NSAIDs, like ibuprofen, they work. But the science shows that using them long-term can come with some pretty serious risks. We're talking about things like gastrointestinal bleeding and even an increased risk of major cardiovascular problems. It's no wonder the search for safer, long-term options is such a big deal.
And that very search brings us to a potential solution that's been hiding in plain sight for centuries, maybe even right in your own kitchen.
So, let's meet our two stars, ginger, also known as Zingiber officinale, and turmeric, Curcuma longa. They're actually botanical cousins, both part of the same plant family. And for literally thousands of years, traditional systems like Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine have relied on these roots, not just for flavor, but for some seriously powerful healing properties.
So what's their secret? Well, it all comes down to their key active compounds. For ginger, it's a group of substances called gingerols. That's what gives ginger that sharp, spicy kick you know and love. And for turmeric, the magic ingredient is curcumin. Curcumin is what gives turmeric that brilliant golden yellow color, and it's responsible for the vast majority of its medicinal effects.
Okay, so how do these compounds actually go about putting out that inflammatory fire we talked about? Let's get into the mechanics of it.
This is where it gets really fascinating. NSAIDs, like ibuprofen, work by blocking these enzymes in your body called COX-1 and COX-2. That action stops the production of chemicals that cause pain and swelling. Well, it turns out the active compounds in ginger and turmeric do something remarkably similar. They also block these inflammatory pathways, basically turning down the volume on your body's pain signals, but doing it through a natural pathway.
But it doesn't even stop there. You see, unlike a drug that might have a single target, these spices launch a multi-pronged attack. The science shows they can block a protein that acts like a master switch for inflammation in our genes. They also work as powerful antioxidants, protecting our cells from damage, and they block a bunch of other inflammatory chemicals too. It's a much broader, more holistic way of calming down the entire system.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but what happens when you put these spices to the test in actual human beings? Let's take a look at what the clinical trials tell us.
When we look at knee osteoarthritis, which is a huge source of chronic pain for millions, the results are really interesting. Turmeric shows consistently strong results. Multiple high-quality studies have found that taking about 1,000 milligrams of curcumin a day can reduce pain scores about as effectively as taking ibuprofen. Now for ginger, the results specifically for osteoarthritis are a bit more of a mixed bag. Some studies show it helps, while others don't find much of a difference compared to a placebo.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. A major scientific review in the Journal of Medicinal Food wrapped it up with this powerful statement, basically confirming that the gold standard of medical research, randomized controlled trials, provides solid evidence that turmeric extract works for treating arthritis. Now, while ginger's track record on arthritis might be mixed, it really seems to shine in other areas. Multiple studies on menstrual pain, for example, found that ginger wasn't just better than a placebo, it was actually comparable to NSAIDs for providing relief. It's also been shown to be really effective at reducing that inflammation and muscle soreness you get after a really tough workout.
So the evidence is definitely compelling. But how do we actually translate all this science into our daily lives? Let's get practical.
Okay, here's the catch, and it's a big one, especially for turmeric. Its star player curcumin is notoriously hard for our bodies to absorb. You could eat a ton of turmeric, but most of that amazing compound just passes right through your system without doing much of anything.
But, and this is incredible, there's a super simple, ancient trick to solve this problem: black pepper. The active compound in pepper, called piperine, can increase the bioavailability of curcumin, that's how much your body can actually absorb and use, by a staggering 2,000%. No, that is not a typo. 2,000. It is a complete and total game changer.
So the key takeaways here are simple but absolutely vital. Always, always pair turmeric with a little bit of black pepper. And since curcumin is fat-soluble, it really helps to have it with a meal that contains healthy fats, like avocado or olive oil. Now keep in mind, to get those high therapeutic doses they use in studies, you'll probably need a standardized supplement. Ginger, thankfully, is a lot more straightforward. You can easily use it fresh, as a powder, or steeped into tea.
And it can be ridiculously easy to incorporate. A simple ginger tea is a fantastic way to get a good dose. All you have to do is grate about a half teaspoon of fresh ginger, let it steep in hot water for 5 or 10 minutes, and that's it. You've got a soothing and really effective anti-inflammatory drink.
Okay, one last crucial point before we finish up: safety. Look, these are natural spices, but when you concentrate them into a supplement, they can have really powerful effects. Both ginger and turmeric can act as mild blood thinners, so if you're already taking medications like warfarin or even just a daily aspirin, it is absolutely essential to talk to your doctor before you start taking a new supplement. And so we come full circle, right back to these two amazing roots. As botanical cousins with these really complementary strengths, it's no surprise at all that they're so often used together, working as a team to help manage pain and inflammation.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? With all of our incredible, advanced modern medicine, could one of the safest, most accessible, and effective tools for managing chronic pain have been sitting right there in our spice racks this whole time?